Asa Newell gets a workout with the Chicago Bulls. How did it go? We're going to discuss that on today's episode. Plus, the Bulls are reportedly looking at a 4-year contract for Josh Giddey, and modest Buzelis is one of the reasons why. We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host, creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages, and podcasts. And no sponsor today, so we're going to jump right into it, Pat. Asa Newell had his official workout, one-on-one private workout with the Chicago Bulls yesterday. Reportedly, it went pretty good. They were impressed with his ability to shoot the ball, as well as his defensive IQ, reportedly. And I have this vision, right? Like, this is the way that I think AK tests players' defense, if they're known as a defensive player. He just brings in all street ball players from Chicago and just throw waves and waves of players and say, stop them from guarding the rim. Like, that's the way I envision it. But how do you feel about Asa Newell having his official workout with the Bulls?
Listen, it's good to know he had to work out. It's good to know it went well. I think Asa Newell is somebody that just about everybody's keeping an eye on here. Upside, I think what Asa Newell is he's probably the player that he is. Maybe there's a little bit more. Maybe there's a little bit more to see, and maybe that's what they're seeing in the workout. But I like Asa Newell as a piece coming in here. I think he's giving you some little on the lighter side, but giving you some ability at that center position if you want to. Definitely locks up the power forward position for you, answers any questions you had about Patrick Williams being that future power forward for you. And I'm glad that the Bulls are actually bringing in people to work out that are in their draft range.
Well, I mean, technically, this would still be a little bit of a reach. Asa's projected to go maybe between after 15, so right outside the lottery. But I mean, you got to bring in the best talent, right? And you got to look at what they have now. Question: you kept talking about Asa, and you mentioned him as a power forward. Is that how you see Asa? Or do you think he has the ability to play center at the next level?
Only thing with center for me at the next level, I think the shot blocking ability would need to be a little bit more impactful, even though it is there. But the thing about center for me is I think we're going to a league where you're seeing a lot more physicality down low. Asa he's not that heavy right now. You know what I mean? Not to say he can't be physical. He's just not that heavy right now. Doesn't mean he can't grow to that. Doesn't mean he can't add weight on. It was funny. I was watching Jeff Teague just dropped 520 podcast with Dwight Howard, and you forget Dwight Howard came into the league 185.
Yeah.
So it's very possible to bulk
up.
Joakim
Noah was when he came into the league as well. Like,
you know what I mean? It's very possible to bulk up. So I'm not sitting here. He's still got massive shoulders, bro. I don't know. They got to be implants. I don't know how. They literally look like two basketballs.
Implants and shoulders? Is that what we're doing here?
He's got BBL shoulders, bro. But no, I think that right now I see him as more of a power forward. I think it doesn't mean that in the long run he can't be the 5'4". He's got the size, he's got the length, and he does have the physical attributes to play that position. The big question for me with Asa is he somebody who can go out there and gain more weight?
I mean, if you look at him, he's already gained weight since the beginning of his freshman year till now. I think they said he put on about 14 pounds, which is really good. 223, decent size. I agree. Like, that is more power forward as far as the weight aspect of it. And the way that centers are going in the NBA, like, you gotta be prepared. Your body got to be ready. So, that's the one thing. You mentioned the rim protection, the shot blocking. Actually has a really good block rate. I'd have to dig into it deeper as far as Georgia, who else was getting blocks on that team, because maybe that was the thing, is that you had multiple shot blockers on that team. But I like Asa Newell. I love that also his 3-point shot. If he does have to be a power forward, which perfectly fine. If he works to be in power forward long term, great. But that 3-point shot does have to be there a little bit more. So it seems like that's been something that has been better than people were expecting from him coming into this draft process and in these workouts. So that's good to hear, I think, as well.
How does he? The one question that I do have is, because I think we're going down this path, right? We're talking about paying Giddey. Giddey's probably going to be on this team. It'd be insane at this point to not pay Giddey. I think the real question is how does he fit in with Giddey as far as if you're going to play him at that big position, does he fit in as that guy who can be the trailing three-point shooter? I'm glad the three-point shooter's improved, but I think that's the part where that's kind of the perfect kind of big. You're either going to want a rim runner with Josh Giddey, or you're going to want somebody who can trail the action, be there at the top of the key for you to kick it back out and knock down the three ball. I don't really see him as either one of them.
Yeah, no, I mean the trailer, I think he could be that. As far as the lob threat, I think he could be that as well. I think his shooting, especially in the mid range, is advanced. So I think he has some flashing of being that. It's hard if you're looking at the college tape. Like I said, the way that they ran their system there with what was Krill, I think was the starting center in Georgia. It kind of makes some sense why there's some questions there, but I think he can be that. I think he can be a rim runner. I think that's what he's going to be right away. I think he also has more of a dribble than he's shown, and he's a bit of a better passer. So I think that can work with Modest long term. I think it also can work with Giddey. The thing that I think it will come down to for Asa is how well do you operate being off ball in pick and roll actions and those type of things, and also zone defense. That's going to be a key thing for the Bulls and their defensive system, as long as Wes Unseld is basically the defensive coordinator here. And that's where I have a little bit of question for Asa. Not in man-to-man. Man-to-man is pretty good. Zone defense, you got to be really smart to know where to operate in the zone, and that's a little bit of a concern that I have for Asa.
Yeah, my only I guess my only fear with it is, right, like, to me, when I watch Asa's game, Asa don't play strong all the time. You know what I mean? There is a lot of fluidity to his game. There is a lot of, I'm as he moves through the offense, right, I'm going around a lot of things. I think this team needs somebody who is going to be extremely physical. It's why, you saw the boost that the team got when Zach Collins came in. Like, it wasn't even like we were like, Zach Collins is balling out right now. Like, I think the Bulls need somebody very physical down there. I think at times Ace is that, and then there are times where he gets lost in that, where that physicality kind of gets to him and it affects him offensively. That is one of the fears that I would have drafting Asa Newell, is that depending on what NBA we're going to, I don't know what the regular season is going to look like. But I'll tell you this, the goal is to make the playoff. With how physical the playoffs have been, if that is your goal, is Asa Newell somebody who remains that same player when that contact starts to come, when that physicality starts to come? To me, I think that's where I look at his game and I go, is that the piece that you're trying to go to, where it seems like the NBA is trying to get physical again? I don't know what the regular season is going to be, though.
Because postseason, definitely. Postseason, the refs was basically like, hey, man, you know what? It'd be interesting if we mix the UFC in basketball a little bit.
At least give them a couple of months to ramp up and figure out the You let them mugs play all season and basically be like, table for two, LeBron James, table for two, right there to the rim, sir. And then he got to the postseason, it was like, all right, break out the knuckle. break out the chains.
That is hilarious. Yeah,
beat this mug on the way to the rim.
That is hilarious. I guess we shall see, right? Like, hopefully this is something that we can find an answer to, and that if Asa does end up being the pick, that he can adapt. But physicality is one thing that you're worried about with him for sure, and it's a legitimate concern, because while he can jump out the gym, he has really good athleticism and all that type of stuff. Like, all that's fine and dandy when you're doing it in a workout against nobody, but it's tougher to be to jump out the gym when somebody's looking at you like, hey man, if you go too high on me, I'm putting you on your butt.
I think even with, that's crazy. I think even with you look at the finals right now, Chet Holmgren, you could be a rim runner all you want. Chet Holmgren not just gonna let you get to the rim.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, he gonna put an arm into you. He gonna put somebody into you and try and knock you off course. Like that's my thing with a lot of these guys, is they have the physical intangibles, but like, are you going to be ready for the physicality that it seems like the NBA is looking to go to? And even if you're right, like, if you're not, can you adapt to that at a certain point? Can you change your game to be more on that? Because to me, how teams were guarding Georgia was the game plan is beat the heck out of Asa as much as they allow.
The funny thing is, too, is that when we talk about his weight and stuff, funny thing is, Asa Newell is almost 20 pounds heavier than Chet at being 3 inches shorter, which is crazy.
But Chet's just such a Chet.
No, Chet's built different. Like,
you know what I mean?
Shout out to Chet, like, because Chet Holmgren, when you watch him play, you rarely think like, hey, this dude's barely 200 pounds at 7'1", because he's a tough SOB, bro. I love him. Like he's just a tough MFer, bro.
Almost
slipped up.
You almost slipped. I saw it. I saw you. Good catch. Chet low-key a cluck, bro. Yeah, I mean, you know that dude that's like on the court and is just like,
bro. Please tell me you saw he has cornrows now.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
See, people like that are built different. Those are the people that you're like, you know what?
Damn, fresh off the Drewski skit though. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Hilarious. All right, next up, we're gotta call it audible. I put this out of order. So next up, we're gonna be talking about Josh Giddey and a potential 4-year contract instead of a 5-year contract, and how that could actually help the Chicago Bulls do some things. But first, we got to get to a message from Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets me manage business calls and text from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. And their AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have an existing number with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. Josh Giddey. So, insider thing here is that the Bulls are fine with the $30 million, reportedly, but they are kind of leaning more towards a 4-year deal than a 5-year deal, with the idea that it kind of will coincide then with Modest Buzelis and when his rookie contract is up. Now, we see this happen a lot in football. Yeah. Basketball, typically, everybody's maxes are all different at different times, and you kind of see teams try to do that somewhat if they're already there. What do you think about the Bulls potentially trying to already line up a contract to match when Modest is up for an extension?
There's a belief in Modest that is maybe more than where I'm at just now. There's a belief that Modest is the answer. That's what that screams that to me. There's a belief that Modest is the answer. There is you feel like Josh Giddey can be your Tyrese Halliburton for this team, and then Modest Buzelis can be a Pascal Siakam. And the reason I'm saying those two names is because you know AK is sitting at home, pants off, watching this NBA Finals here, where most of this team wasn't even drafted. It was just a bunch of dudes traded for.
That is hilarious.
You know he's sitting at home just going, they traded for Shea, they traded for Tyrese. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. You know he is, bro.
And two players that were what? Shea was number 10, 11th pick, and Tyrese was number 15?
I think they both were 10, 11, somewhere in there, yeah. Like, it's just like, you know he's living in that world right now. And the Pacers traded for Pascal Siakam, gave him the contract. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, you know what he's on right now. Miles Turner's always been there. Our Kobe White is our Miles Turner.
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton's pick 12. So
I mean, like, it's now if you didn't F up, you could have just drafted one of them. But but if you being honest about the whole situation, you know what I mean? I think that he's looking at this as we've got our young core, and now it's time to move forward, and now it's time to go all in on this, especially in an Eastern Conference that looks like it might be about to lose Giannis Antetokounmpo, especially in an Eastern Conference that there is going to be no Jason Tatum next season, especially in an Eastern Conference where the team that's representing the East is the Indiana Pacers, who I think even watching them now, it doesn't feel like you're light years behind. It feels like you're behind them, but it doesn't feel like we're as far behind the Pacers as we are behind the Boston Celtics when they're at full strength. So I think AK is probably at home, Johnson bottle ready to go. Can you say that? Can I say that on lockdown? I don't know.
8 or 10 really good players.
8 or 10 something.
Yeah, no, I think this just shows a level of foresight by this front office that they're at least saying, like, hey, if Modest is the guy, we want to make sure that we have flexibility, that if he turns into that, that we have some latitude to what we want to do with the roster built around him. I don't know what that's going to mean for Kobe, IO extensions, or anything else going forward, but I think it's just smart, right? It's smart to do because Modest has shown a lot of flashes. Nothing you can say for sure. I hate the people that are like, oh, he's a star or he's a superstar. It's like, bro, you can't be a superstar. You're shooting 30-something% from the field. Like, you can't do that. So he has a lot.
Not how that works.
And it's not how that works. So there's still a lot that he needs to do to show that he's ready for that next level. But again, you're not expecting that to happen until at earliest, maybe year 2. Like, you start seeing some flashes from some people. But year 3, year 4, I think is a fair estimation by that. And then you do have to get ready for an extension. So the last thing you want is a player that has really stepped up. And if he has shown that leap, and then you're like, well, heck, we don't have money to build around him right now. So having that, thinking about that, is smart. And he's not even Modest. Who you draft now will be 3 years into their career by then, right? Yeah. Who you draft in 2026 will be 2 years into their career by then. So you may look at this and say, hey, while we were building this around Josh Giddey and Kobe and Modest, now maybe it's a different combination. Maybe it's Kobe, the 25 pick, and Modest. Maybe it's the 25, 26 pick and Modest, where you're then saying, all right, we don't need to spend this heavy contract to keep Josh Giddey around. No knock on Giddey. I hope that he is able to stay around, but you're looking at that and saying these 3 guys that we drafted over the last 3 years look like a nucleus that really can get us where we want to go. We need to now take that money and spend that to support them. I think that's smart if you
now, if this is a deal breaker for Josh Giddey, though, is do you give in on the maybe go player option for that 5th year? Do you go team option for that 5th year where you say, listen, we want to bring you back? Yeah. Especially if you're playing well. It's not about not giving you money. It's about having the money available for Modest. Like, this is one where it's like, first contract, I would think if I'm Giddey's agent, I'm holding on to that 5th year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it shouldn't be a deal breaker, right? Like, I understand and like I said before when we talked about Giddey, if you come to the table, that's why it's a negotiation. Say, hey, we want to do 4 years. This is why. This also could benefit you by you getting back out in the market, and you'll get a contract. And if you've done what you need to do here, cool, great. We have no problem paying you at that point. But if Giddey and his agency are like, hey, no, we need that 5th year in some shape, form, or fashion, you can give it to us as a player option. At that point, we have the control. You can say we can make the choice to opt out so that we can re-up everybody on decent deals. I don't think that it should be something that you then say, if you don't want to sign the 4-year deal, we're not re-signing you at all. It's just that you go to the table with how you think it's going to help you. So,
I meant as far as Giddey, because you got to think, right? If I'm coming to the table 4-year or $30 million for 5 years, first off, I'm giving y'all a discount on what I could be asking for, because I still want this team to be built. But that's 150. So where's my other 30 go? So are we gonna work out a 4-year $38 million
that's where
deal?
we differ at. Even when you were talking about signing the declining contract, you still get the amount of money. Like, I think that in the modern NBA, players understand, like, unless you have a fear that you're gonna suck or get injured, you actually can gain more money by not signing that. Like, you can, because at the end of that 4th year, whether it's a player option or not, you get out of that, you can opt out, and then you can re-sign, get your 120% raise, and now you're looking at, instead of being a $30 million guy, you're looking at being a $48 million guy, right? So I think that they're, not to say that it wouldn't be a sticking point for Josh Giddey and his agency. Like I said, if they go to the table, I'm fine give them the 5 years. Don't nickel and dime over 1 year.
Yeah.
It'll push your plans off 1 year. Okay, cool. But I think whether it's, if you can get them to agree to a player option, hell, if you can get them to agree to a team option, which AK doesn't believe in team options.
Yeah. Well, he'll fully guarantee it. 150 fully guaranteed.
2 years early. It'll be like, hey, he's 2 years into a 5-year deal. The last year is, no, we're going to go ahead and guarantee fully that. Don't worry. Put in the paperwork.
Put it in. Send it in. It's crazy, bro. Javon Carter's fully guaranteed contract.
Bro, and even though me and you were both favorable on the signing of Javon Carter at the time, because what he could have brought theoretically,
fully guaranteed is
to fully guaranteed is wild.
Fully guaranteed is
because was Javon Carter really going into the negotiations like, yeah, I need that fully guaranteed or I'm not signing here? And you looked at it and said, oh my God, we can't have him not sign here. Bro. You got to give him the fully guaranteed contract.
Bro, I remember just being like I remember being excited about the deal, but he'd still be like fully guaranteed is kind of crazy. But all right, let's see. But he'll be all right. He'll be fine. Now he's not fine, and he's fully guaranteed. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. I think that we got to talk about how Modest factors into the Bulls' offseason plans here coming up, as we know they want to re-sign Giddey, but can you line it up with Modest, and does that work for the long term? That might be crazy. We'll talk about all that and more after we hear from a word from our sponsors over at give it a sec, BetterHelp. Let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough: men's health, men's mental health. There is pressure always to keep it together, to perform, provide, and never show weakness. But the truth is, real strength comes from opening up and taking care of your mental well-being. Every year, 6 million men in the United States experience depression, and many go undiagnosed. But talking to someone, a friend, a loved one, or a therapist can make a huge difference. Therapy isn't just for crisis moments. It's great for learning how to set boundaries, building healthy coping tools, and be the best version of yourself. That's right, fellas. Punching that wall is not the best way to get that stress out. With over 35,000 licensed professionals, BetterHelp makes it easy to find a therapist who understands you. You connect from anywhere, switch therapists at any time, and fit sessions into your schedule with just one click. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. It's BetterHelp.com, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
Well-oiled machine around here. That's the first time we've both had a ad read in a minute. Look at that.
Well-oiled. Never mind.
That's crazy. With that said,
Pat, I love that you know where I was going.
Exactly. I know exactly where you were going with it. With that said, Pat, I know we kind of touched on this already in the fact of it being smart, but like, how much do you think Modest's future should be factoring in? Like we talk a lot about it. Drafting a player that could fit with Modest, right? Now aligning contracts to fit with Modest. Even when we talk about free agency, we think about how they fit with Modest. How much is the right amount and how much is too much for a young player that's promising, but still has a lot of room to grow, to where you shouldn't be thinking about building your team too much around that rookie as of yet before he shows who he can be for sure?
I don't want this to come off the wrong way, because I think Modest Buzelis is incredibly talented. He didn't show me enough for me to worry about Modest Buzelis. He didn't show me enough for me to worry about, is he the future of this team? They played well.
Yeah,
right?
Really well.
He played really well. I think post All-Star break, he was above 15 points a game. Like he was, what was he? 13 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists. In that, couple of 28-point showings, couple of big scoring nights, good rebounding nights, things like that. Some good defense from him, some up and down, some rookie year stuff. It's good to see, but there are number twos in the NBA that put up those numbers. There are number threes in the NBA to put up those numbers. What I saw from Modest post All-Star break was not enough for me to go, I need to stop everything that I'm doing and build my team around this guy.
And that's the point. Like, in the sense that he's going to be a starter, that you still want to keep his skill set and what you want to do with him next year. Like, if you want Modest to have more scoring opportunities where he's given the ball and allowed to do something, that's great. But I don't think you want to change the whole construction of your roster yet, just thinking about Modest yet. Start thinking about some of those things, because if he shows an ability in year two, you don't want to draft a guy that then is not going to fit with how you see him projecting. But like, it's not at the point. As fans, sometimes, and this is every team, we have a habit of talking about a player as if they're already who we see them becoming.
Yeah.
I could see the path of Modest becoming a number one or a number two on this team, and that's great. But you can't start operating like he's that yet. You just can't. After Patrick Williams' rookie year, he looked like he was going to be taking a leap in year 2. Instead, next 3 years, he's taking a step back. So, and I'm not to say I don't think that's going to be modest because his mentality with Patrick. I'm just saying that you can't tie your cart to a horse yet before he shows an ability to do more. You didn't run very many plays at all for him last year. You didn't do any of that. So, like, you got to see how he reacts to getting more on him before I think you can start building the team around.
Yeah, listen, Modest was taking 9 shots a game by the end of last season. Which, cool, right? If he can consistently be, and I'm looking at this game specifically, versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, he only took 12 shots. I'm sorry, not versus the Dallas Mavericks, I should say. 10 for 17. 28 points in that game, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 58 points. He went ballistic from 3. I'm not expecting this, but he went 5 for 7 from 3 in that game, 71% from the 3-point line. If you can be in the 58% range from the field and live in kind of that 41% range from 3, which is what he averaged in the second half of the season, now we're changing teams because you're that guy.
Mm.
But that's got to be a consistent thing every game. If I give you 17 shots, you're a 20-plus point per game scorer. You're finishing at the rim at a high clip. You're knocking down the 3 ball 4 out of 10 times. Those are things where it goes, okay, no, this is that guy. He is that next level player. We saw flashes of those. That does not mean that's who he was. I saw flashes of Nikola Mirotic that would have told you he was going to be the next great power forward in the NBA.
You mean something he wasn't the next great power forward in the NBA?
You son of a... You know what I mean? There were all these... Like, Nikola Mirotic looked like he was going to be the change that the league had for the European big.
He really did at times. Like, he showed some flashes.
At times, Nico was hooping.
Yeah.
Flashes get you fired.
Especially
you have
if
to
you're,
see
Eddie
consistent production.
Yeah.
Say Eddie Curry.
You don't remember the flashing Eddie Curry situation?
Oh, calm down.
Anyway, yeah, I agree with it.
Speaking of that, what happened to old boy that was in was he in Dallas or San Antonio? What happened to him?
Oh, we signed him. He's on our G League team. We signed him, Pat.
No, is he really?
Josh Primo is a Chicago Bull, bro.
Well, good night, everybody.
Hey, what happened to that Dallas kid? You mean the kid that's on our G League team?
Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Y'all stay. Look at that on the Windy City Bulls. Yes, he is. Y'all stay safe out there.
That was priceless. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls screen available in every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Fubo TV, and more. We'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
That was priceless.
That was hooping. Okay, I was about to say he better have been hooping at least. He was hooping. Oh, what a freaky frog.